Ladles and Jelly Spoons, is Tim down for living with MS in Tenerife. I'm having problems with the big computer, so I've gone live on my phone. And this, my friends, is Balcony Banter, whatever that is. Hello, Ian. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Good. Now, the other girls can't hear anything because they're waiting for me to do this. But we'll be all right. They can see everything, and they can hear me, but they probably can't hear Ian, I don't think.
Ian, just very remotely.
Very remotely. So welcome. Wouldn't be fashionably late. Exactly right. The reason I'm fashionable, I checked everything, and then when I went to turn the camera on, they said, "Oh, we're not detecting the camera." Does this say tether again?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to go in with the big computer because hopefully that'll work. If not, we'll just swap everything around, and we'll do that. We are live, so I am actually hopefully. Okay, now. Okay, so we're in with the. All you get is that.
Oh.
Stream.
Well, good.
Where can I hear that? Oh, here.
Nice bit of an echo there.
We got an echo now. Camera off. So now you can hear me, Ian.
Yes, I can hear you.
I can hear Ian too.
Hello.
That's a shame you can't see me. What a shame. I got a fantastic camera, all set up, and the computer does not. I've got to restart the computer, right, for it to work, or that'll take all the sound away. Right. Don't worry, ladles and jelly spoons. Here we go. I'll just do that while I'm talking, and Christina can have a rest. How's that?
Yeah, fine.
Okay. So, ladles and jelly spoons. This is Tim Dowd for Living with MS in Tenerife, together with Christina Dowd in the background, Ian Miller, Cleo O'Flynn, and Juliane Nendel.
Hello.
There you go. Hello. And we got loads of people on. Doesn't tell me how many, but I think it does somewhere. 73 people on. Yep. Cool, dude.
And it looks like the start of the Brady Bunch, says Stephen.
And everybody can hear Cleo. That's good. The only thing that's missing now is my fantastic camera, which I'm going to turn off to save battery, and never to be seen again. And get rid of that as well. What a shame. What a shame. I did this the other week and I had to reboot it, the computer, but I didn't have time now because I waited till the death. Where am I looking? There I'm looking. I waited till the death. Right, so what's it all about? It's all about presentations. So we got some slides to show you. And also Cleo's got some information. So it's all about village life and what Dolores really said about the Brits. That's what we've called it, right? So village life, there's a reason we're doing that. And Cleo's going to talk a little bit about that. But you can join in if you live in a village.
Are you busy?
Yeah, tell me, are you happy, or what do you do? Is there a village organisation? Does it revolve around the pub? Whatever you want to tell us about your village. And if you don't live in a village, what's your benefit of living in a town or
a city?
Or a city, yeah. And whether you prefer to live in a village or whatever, you know. So that's what it's all about. I'm going to put, and then I'm going to get this first bit over and done with first, though, because then I can just get rid of these. Present slides. I got some slides which are just snippets from the web, because there was a load of news on the internet to say that the president of Fuerteventura, Dolores Corujo, I think her name is, said that she was going to. What are you shaking your head for?
Go on.
Said that we don't want Brits anymore, and we hate them. Or basically that was it. And let me just put this up. Lanzarote says it's fed up with having so many British tourists visiting the island and wants fewer UK holidaymakers. Lanzarote received 2.5 million tourists last year, 17 times its population. Leaders want the island to become less dependent on Brits and diversify. Why is Lanzarote such a draw for British tourists? Click here to find out. And it's Rita Sobot from the Mail Online.
And Rita, who works here.
Yeah.
I know Rita. That's called clickbait, isn't it?
It's called clickbait, yeah. You know this Rita, do you?
I worked with her briefly years ago.
Yeah.
This is not the kind of place I would talk about it.
No. Okay. So, but anyway, so this was done. But then a guy called Mike from Lanzarote Information, which is a good website. I looked through it. It looks quite good. And he said, what was the real story? He says, first, nobody ever said Lanzarote's fed up of British tourists.
Exactly.
That line was completely made up. Two completely separate comments were made by the Cabildo President Dolores Corujo in a much wider speech talking about the future of Lanzarote tourism and also about Canary Islands tourism, I think.
It has been said in so many parts of the Canary Islands.
Exactly. And in one, she said that the island needs to reduce its reliance on the British market, and that makes perfect sense. Yeah. Currently, almost half the tourists from the UK, and if the Brits fall out of love for whatever reason, then and choose not to travel, then it leaves a massive, the economy exposed. Porsche are a great example of the folly of this. In the 1980s, half their production was being sold to the United States. When USA went into recession in the 90s, their sales plummeted and almost bankrupted the company. So it's a basic economic sense for any business to spread the risk over several markets. And Lanzarote won't aim to be limiting any number from any one country as if they could, but will seek to grow the share market of other countries. So that's the basic bit about it's not less Brits, it's more diversified.
And I mean, I think in general, because I know tourism policy in general would be, we are small islands. I mean, these are physically small islands. They can only take a certain number of people. So for the economy to continue to grow, they don't want more people, they want people with more spending power.
Right, I think that comes in the next slide also.
Oh, okay.
It says, Dolores then went on to say in separate comments, which the press have tied together with the first, that the island needs to seek to reduce the overall tourist numbers in the future. She suggested Lanzarote has reached saturation point, and it's true. Yeah. Witnesses the queues for buses and taxis and the lack of hire cars for much of 2022, and also the fact that the summer and over Christmas there wasn't a room to be had. This policy of reducing the overall numbers of tourists on the island has been in place for a few years now, and is already bearing fruit. In 2022, the total number was slightly lower than in 2019, while the average spend per visitor was higher.
Exactly. And that's the same here.
Exactly.
I mean, there hasn't been anything less than a 4-star hotel built on these islands for 15 or 20 years,
Right.
for instance.
Yeah.
Right. I think they've done up a couple of it, like the Mine and stuff like that.
And
But-
the Hard Rock.
And the Hard Rock, yeah. Is that a 4-star?
Well, it's at least a 4-star,
At
but
least
it
a
was a
4-star.
3-star.
It was a 3-star, yeah.
Fiesta.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, the policy in general has been
Better
slowly
quality.
moving towards people with more disposable income, and whether they're, I mean, the Canary Islands government would go to the World Travel Market in London, but they also go to the ITB, the Berlin Travel Market, and that's hugely important to them. And they've now started weekly flights directly to the US because they want to capture the US market.
Right.
So, you know, these islands are open to everybody, but
Can you see yourself?
they don't exclusively belong to any one holiday nation.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's the news that Lanzarote doesn't want Brits is totally false, and basically that's the advantage of going to the source of the information.
Absolutely.
So if you're able to speak Spanish even and go to the source of the information, and the another tip that I would give you is don't read the Daily Mail. I think that's a given, isn't it? Really. So anyway,
La prensa rosa.
Yeah, or also don't just take a headline and walk away and say that's the story. Because even if you read through a story, you'll see that the headline itself has been cobbled out of attention-grabbing words that
there's a
actually
word for
belong
it.
all over the place. Yes.
clickbait.
Yeah.
It's a word.
That's it, yeah.
And so if you want clickbait, that's fine. And, you know, I mean, some clickbait's funny. You know, especially if you know the guy. I mean, the McMaster, for instance, his clickbait is perfect. You know, it's just tongue-in-cheek enough to get you looking. And I think the Kevin, Scotsman in Tenerife, I don't know if you're on, Kevin, but he did one from Liverpool that I watched today. Says, Liverpool bars, Market Street, and I was barred from a pub. So I watched the whole thing to watch him get barred from a pub. And all it was that his wife wouldn't let him go in to see Coyote Ugly.
So, okay.
So it was barred from entering a pub. That's right. So yeah, that was good. That was great clickbait because I watched it for that. There you go.
And I mean, I think the islands sometimes get a bad press for just trying to actually be a 21st century tourism destination. I mean,
Yeah.
they're the top European winter destination.
Yeah.
And sometimes you do get a little bit annoyed by people saying, oh, you know, with the British market, for instance, saying, oh, they can't do without us. They would find it difficult, but they being who, I don't know, the Canary Island Tourism Board, they would find a way.
Yeah.
And that's really what, like, no one country can claim ownership of the resort areas in the Canary Islands
Unless you got a towel.
unless you have a towel. And even then, it might be moved if it's there too early or too late.
Not
That's
our
what I'm
towels,
saying.
Christina. No, not our towels. Our towels stay where they are.
But they're stuck.
They're stuck on the bed. So anyway, that was all I wanted to say, is that the news isn't always the news. Sometimes it's a lot of clickbait, and the story behind it is a lot more interesting. So I'm going to go round now. Ian, I'm going to pull you right at the beginning there. I know you've fallen to sleep, but how was your week?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. It's not very nice here. It's turning cold again. I think we're going back to the ice age again. But not to worry. There's plenty to do. Plenty maintenance. Getting my maintenance list made up for the rest of the year. That never stops, unfortunately.
Oh dear.
You just got to get trying to get everything pulled in, and once the better weather comes in, we'll get out and get started to it again and get going. And, just look forward to our next holiday.
And where is the next holiday? As if I didn't know.
I think we'll come back to Tenerife, actually.
Yay.
It's funny there. I thought something you were just talking about there. When we used to go to Ibiza, one or two of the hotels that we used to go to, one year all of a sudden it just stopped. And the idea was behind it that they were upgrading the hotels to go on to 4-star as well, and that was a number of years ago. And the idea behind it was they were actually catering longer in the season, and they were trying to bring in a sort of conferences sort of into the beginning of the season. Then they had their holiday season, and then they had sort of conferences and that after it.
Yeah. I
That
think
was
that's what they're
happening.
doing here as well. I was talking to somebody, they said they couldn't afford, they couldn't do a conference here because they couldn't get that many beds together because it was saturated.
Yeah.
The island is saturated. I mean, there's 6.5 million visitors a year to the Canary Islands. I think we get about 4 of it.
We're 2 million to Adeje, I think, this year.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people here.
There is,
And
and
if everybody needs a bed,
But there's also, put it this way, there's probably a waiting list, in a sense. So, there will always be, at the moment, there will be a demand for the Canary Islands. But if you look at how Adeje, I mean, it's the one I know best, has changed in recent years. It's really pushing sports tourism. It pushes ecotourism, rural tourism.
yeah.
I mean, the amount of ads that you see for sun and sea tourism these days has really gone down. And they also know that people, in the last 15 years, book their own flights and their hotels separately. They're not booking packages. So they know that they need to offer a completely different kind of holiday to young, independent, German, Italian, French, Irish, Swedish, digital nomads and British, but not just family holiday makers. That is probably way down the list now.
It's still going to happen, though. I mean,
Of course it is.
you'll still get a cheap and cheerful thing, and you still get your all-inclusive
I don't know
stuff.
how many more there's going to be. There's less and less.
So how do they disappear then?
By renovating and upgrading hotels and getting rid of the all-inclusive.
So what costs you like Callao Garden now? I think you can get in there for 200 a week, all-inclusive, or whatever, and flights inclusive, something stupid like that. And and as Michael was saying, the air travel's not going to get any cheaper, is it? With
No, but it's fairly cheap.
It
Compared to 20 years ago, it's really
but
cheap.
it's only fairly cheap for certain countries, and I don't understand that. I mean, how can Brits come over for €14 on EasyJet,
Yeah.
and my daughter has to pay 400?
Probably loss leaders. So certain routes are probably low. I mean, but going to Ireland as well, because it's a smaller pool of people booking, I would have to pay a lot more. But also depends on the time of year. I mean, I'm going to the UK in March, but now British Airways for the first time in years. They're now flying regular flights
From south?
from here to Gatwick. Yeah,
Oh wow!
I got it for about 65.
Costs you more from Gatwick into London than it would from here to there, then, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. And I mean, EasyJet are wonderful, but Ryanair as well. I know people give out about them, but I remember when my mum died in 2021, it cost me about £800 to get home
Yeah.
because there was no such thing as direct flights to Ireland, and Ryanair changed the availability and cost of travel for us.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know a lot of people hate them. A lot of people say they're cheap and they're nasty, but they are cheap.
What's the guy want to call Michael Levy? Is it
Michael O'Leary.
Michael O'Leary? I heard this thing that he went in a pub and the guy says, Guinness is £1. He went, oh great. He says, I'll have a pint of Guinness.
Yeah.
He said, yeah, where's
You
your glass?
have to have the glass.
He
wouldn't
says,
you?
where's your glass? He
Yeah.
said, I don't have a glass. So I said, well, you gotta have a glass. That's £2.50.
But he also said if you go to a restaurant, you don't expect to have a free cup of coffee if it's a cheap restaurant. If you go to a classy restaurant, you probably get a glass of champagne when you walk in.
That's true.
So you get what you pay for. If you're only paying £25 for a flight, you're not going to get free luggage.
That's true. No cheap flights now. I've been looking for Tenerife, search more expensive. I've heard from a lot of people that the cheap flights from Britain are disappearing.
Surely, it depends. I got €50 back. I got with EasyJet in the middle of March.
Okay.
I guess for other countries, it's like Germany, for instance, it's becoming more being more flexible as well. Maybe having more stopovers and not so many direct flights
Yeah.
available.
Yeah.
So.
Do you think? I think there's more and more. I mean, maybe because for the first time in my life, I'm flying to and from the UK to see my daughter. So there seems to be just so many options between Wizz Air, EasyJet, Ryanair,
Yeah.
British Airways, TUI. I mean, to most and Ryanair. But I mean, I think obviously the time of year during Easter flights are £300.
Wow.
After Easter, they're 50. So that's how they make their money, though.
Yeah, that's right, actually, Cleo, because I've followed the flights for Tenerife now for a number of years, and see the May holiday. If you come down before the May holiday, you're laughing. If you come
Exactly.
down during the May holiday, you're paying through the nose for it. You know,
Because, and I presume they can offer the really cheap flights by making the flights much more expensive when they know that everyone wants to travel.
exactly.
It's
Yeah.
market sense, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mightn't like it, but
I'm just positioning the cameras so.
You just change your holiday dates a wee bit.
if you have the luxury of being able to do that, I was just
about to say that if you can do that, but if you're tied into a booking, well,
kids.
that's it. You
You have kids and you have to do the school holidays.
Well, I was going to go on holiday to Tenerife next week, but I've got to go the week after now.
No, you better double check on that. You better maybe not be there.
I've got a cross on my face. Look. The sun's behind me, but it's shining in the window over there.
It's a sign.
Shining. Let me show you the sunset.
Sun is in my
Oof, it's still far too bright.
Do you want your sunglasses?
Just
What?
do this little holy.
Oh, I took Cleo out of the sun, and now as the sun's moved
Oh,
around,
poor Chris.
it's. So what about you, Chris? What did you do last week?
I didn't do a lot, like always. And I felt a bit bad on Monday, the meet on Monday.
You did.
I think it was the weather because it rained and
It did rain.
it
Yeah.
was quite cold.
For us, it was very cold, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We're far too used to this weather, Chris.
Yep.
And it went to, I don't know, about 15 degrees. And we were all in
Um,
water bottles and thermal underwear.
Let's see what people are saying. Alan Fraser. Hello, Tim and Christina. Cleo and Juliane, hope you are all well. Just get a quick hello dropping out again. He's already gone.
Hello.
Bye, Michael. Oh, no, there's Michael.
Alan.
New comments. Mary Alty, gone with TUI, has package. They are expensive. Flying trucker, $375 for two with bags on seat. Bags and seat, okay.
Yeah.
For two people. That's just cheap.
But is that return?
Oh, I assume so. Parents are taking kids out of school during term to get cheaper dates. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've heard that they fine parents in the UK, don't they?
Still cheaper
sometimes?
though, isn't it?
And
Yeah,
exactly, the fine
right,
is
Cleo.
cheaper than the flights.
Yeah, that's right.
So
That's
I
right.
believe.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true, Cleo.
We didn't have to do that here, of course, because we are here. And my
Just rubbing it
daughter,
in.
fact, my daughter's talking about going on holidays with her friends for the first time in the summer. And I said to her, I believe there's a really nice bunch of small islands just off the west coast of Africa. And she goes, that sounds really nice, Ma. I said, yeah, you're from here.
Cap Verde.
But
Has anybody been to Cap Verde?
No.
No. I saw some
yet.
pictures of it the other day. It looks quite nice.
Yeah. Well, I think she wants to go to Greece, which I think is a good idea. Greece is good.
Just tell us to watch.
Not to get into any forest
Was it
fires.
Shirley Valentine?
Well, how do you think I ended up here?
Uh-huh. Hello, Wall. So, village life. Oh, no, we're going round the thing, haven't we? Done, Chris. Juliane, what did
Yeah.
you do last week?
Busy work and actually yesterday I took a little walk down to the beach and enjoyed the night sky. It's lovely.
Uh-huh.
At the moment it's really enjoyable. The evening skies. I always like them very much in the winter.
In the
time.
winter, yeah.
They are
And
lovely,
it's so
aren't
cold at the moment, and Tate is full of snow. Denise also said that the streets are closed.
they? They are,
Yeah.
that's
the
right.
the roads up there. So yeah,
If you know where to go, you can still get up there. But
yep, that's it. You can still come down with your little snowman.
With your little
on
snowman.
On the bonnet of the
and then
car.
and lie on the beach.
That's it.
That's what I like about the Canary Islands. You can do all that.
They only come as far as Villaflor though.
Uh-huh.
The
And then they melt.
snowmen.
We've never done that.
Kevin says, friend went to Cap Verde, said nothing there but hotels.
Oh, yeah, see?
Hotels and beach, I assume. We're just talking about you, Kevin, about that fantastic clickbaity Liverpool one that says you were banned from a bar, and it was just your missus not letting you go into Coyote Ugly. I bet you went in afterwards, though, didn't you? And Sub's on. All right, Sub. I got an answer from the guy about the villa, and nobody's going to take a stag do, so I shouldn't have said stag do, but that's another story.
Obviously.
I know. Which I can't tell because I realise I've just outed him now.
I never get a place.
I never get a Excuse me. I went to the doctor's today.
I was going to ask,
The
are you better?
first time ever here on the island, a doctor took a stethoscope out and listened to my chest,
Really?
put a stick in my mouth and told me to say "ah,"
Really?
and looked in my ears.
Wow, were they clean?
No, they weren't, because I'm deaf. I can't hear in this ear at all, and I'm only half in this ear. That's why I'm on this one here, so I can crank it up. So she says, "Oh, I'll prescribe you these two things." I said, "Great medicine." She didn't. All she said was, "Go and buy yourself a expectorant for 10 quid and some eardrops for 15 quid.
Neither of them available on social security.
9 available on the social." So I ended up going down to the chemist and dropping 21 euros.
There you go.
And for something that I could have just gone for 2-3 weeks ago,
If you had known.
if I'd have known. In fact, I did a week of expectorant. I expected more from it, to tell you the truth.
No.
But the eardrops are going to be good. And I've got to go back on Monday afternoon to have my ears syringed.
Oh.
So I'll be brainless on Monday evening. Talking about
For
Monday
a change.
evening, I've set it up if you want to go and register for Meetup next Monday. Christina's on the fence whether she's going, she says.
Depends what the weather's gonna be
But
like.
inside was all right, wasn't it? Sitting inside was
Yeah,
all right. We sat
inside was okay, yeah.
Right. And what else did you do?
Not too much. Busy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, meetings.
Really get jealous when you're all so busy and I'm bored.
Oh, Chris.
I'm jealous.
You just sit there and get paid for nothing. Bloody benefits cheat she is.
Get your food served.
You get your
Yeah.
food served, yeah.
But I suppose, yeah, by Tim. Yeah, well, that's okay.
Flammkuchen and
Ooh.
pizza tonight.
Ooh,
Why
So
do you
we're-
think we're here?
exactly.
It ain't for the company.
And the good thing is they both brought wine. So Jesus says you got to serve the best wine first, so you got to fight which one's the best.
I don't really mind. I'm sure we can work it out between us, Juliane.
Yes.
No?
Yeah.
I was going to say we could toss for it, but one of them would probably break, so
Okay.
not a good idea.
Exactly.
Toast to you.
My Lost Dog shorts, 500 plus views. Cool, dude. NHS has stopped syringing ears in Scotland.
I'm sure there's a joke there somewhere. I just can't.
What?
Yeah, exactly. In Scotland.
They stopped syringing it. What?
Where? Scotland.
Scotland.
Ian, what are
No.
you saying?
No, not to my knowledge. I can still hear, I think.
Well, can you get your ears syringed on the NHS if you got to go private?
No, you can still get
Private
them done in the
ears.
NHS.
There you go. Ian says no.
Lol, yep, I commented, Tim's thanks, I'm watching it. Yeah, you have to watch it. I mean, your titles, you've got to just click on that thing, you know what I mean? But we were talking about the good clickbait and bad clickbait, because there was the one about the Brits hating Lanzarote, or no, the Lanzaroteans hating Brits, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that was terrible. That was terrible. Peter Kay's on. Have to go private in England. There you go. You're not the Peter Kay, are you? There's a famous Peter Kay, isn't
There
there?
is, yeah. It might be.
I was
It might
going to
be.
say. Ooh.
Does he have to get his ears done privately in England? That would be a good story.
Yeah?
That clickbait.
It's clickbait.
Peter Kay says ears not syringed for free.
Go under the shower.
Yeah.
Maria Albanaz, ¿cómo estás, mi amiga?
NHS drives Peter Kay deaf. That's better. That's even better clickbait.
He's not the famous Peter Kay. He says, oh, actually.
Aw.
No, we actually like you. Peter.
Yeah.
You're our Peter K.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching.
Our Peter K.
You're our Peter K.
Do we need to shout loudly?
Chris Eiling is asking Ali how her day's been. Lovely to see Cleo, she says.
Thank
Joining
you.
you.
Very much. Thank you very much.
And
Oh, I like that from Michael McGuinness. Did you see that?
that
Jesus
one?
did not turn water into wine. He hypnotized the guests to believe it.
Okay, but if we've two different kinds of wine, Michael, then we're really screwed.
Jesus did not turn water into wine. He hypnotized the guests to believe it. Isn't that the whole premise of religion?
Cheers!
I mean,
Cheers! Cheers!
the whole
Jesus,
premise.
This is rosé.
The whole premise of religion is to
Be hypnotized into believing something.
no, it's faith, and you don't have to have faith in facts, right?
True. You don't have to see it to believe it.
Nope.
Exactly. So we are now drinking neat gin, actually.
Yeah, I believe
Our
that.
Peter K saying the wife thinks I'm funny though.
Oh, there you go, Peter.
Funny
that's
peculiar or funny
funny.
ha ha?
Probably both.
Right. So we did so village life. We're going to talk a little bit about village life. If you remember back in May, I think last year,
Yeah.
Cleo and I went to this.
Chris.
And Chris. Bodily. Went to this meeting up in the Constitution.
Oh,
What
yes.
was it called?
It's the Centre for Citizen Participation.
The Centre for Citizen
which
Participation.
sounds-
How do you say?
sounds
How do you say it in Spanish? Ciudadanos.
Centro de Participación Ciudadano.
Ciudadanos. That's what we are.
It sounds much better in Spanish.
We're Swedanos.
We're Swedes. We're
Swedes.
Swedanos.
We're Swedes and carrots.
alternative turnips.
Swedanos.
And we did turn up.
And I just remember this guy
Moaning.
moaning and very angry, and they didn't understand one word.
No. Because there was representations from every municipality, every village, if you like,
Every
in
barrio.
Adechia. Every
neighborhood.
barrio. There you go.
In a way, there used to be a residents' association here called Cosmos,
Called Cosmos.
which I was involved in. But it kind of, one of the reasons it stopped working was that nobody came to the meetings.
All right. So you
that
had,
is one
everybody
of the
turned
big
up, and then they all sort of just
Dwindled.
yeah.
And at the end there was a president and two committee members, and the president liked being a president, but he didn't like actually doing things maybe as much as the committee members who were running around and knocking on people's doors and finding out what was wrong. And it's, first of all, Spain loves bureaucracy. That was
Right.
to start at that point. So to set up a proper village association, you need to probably walk 3 times backwards around the pond and write in fake blood your name in Spanish and then present that to the king or something.
I can do
So
I've got to do that tomorrow morning.
at this stage, what they've decided to do now is the same department for participation. I dropped the word citizen, so it sounds like something from George Orwell.
It does, yeah.
Citizen participation. So they're having a series of meetings in different neighbourhoods around Adeje. And the idea is they want people to turn up and say, right, what would your ideal neighbourhood be? If you could wake up tomorrow and it was a year or 5 years from now and you opened the door and everything was exactly as you felt it should be, what would be different from today?
So they're looking for visions of the future.
But also how to get there. I mean, I actually found the meeting, I'm not one for round table discussion and stickers on walls, but this worked really well.
Okay. So
I
they
thought
did
it
like a
worked really well.
brainstorming as well, did they?
It worked. It basically broke up into 2 groups.
Okay.
And luckily, like, there was a huge level of participation from the non-Spanish speaking group, which was great. So we were all in one group.
So the non-Spanish speakers decided on English as the common language then, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And mainly because I was there to translate, so we didn't have enough. But there were people there from France, there were people there from Belgium, there was a couple there from the United States. You know, there was quite a widespread of people who live in the village. And the idea was, I mean, the conversation revolved mostly around, right, what would change in 5 years or in 10 years or tomorrow? And it was very much things like, one of the big things was access. So access for people with mobility issues, with disability issues, with wheelchairs, with crutches. That's really bad. There's nowhere to park in the village. So that means people don't go to dinner in the village if they have mobility issues. So that was a big issue. Cleanliness. Security wasn't considered to be too bad. But also somebody, I'm not going to name names, brought up a really interesting point, which was, I think, for a lot of us as well. If you want to go and meet people, but you don't want to go to the pub, where do you go? Like, what centre is there? There is a community centre, but it's used for things like yoga twice a week, and the Orthodox Russian Church use it for their lunch after Mass on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it. And somebody said, why don't we use this space? Have coffee mornings, have a book club, run a swap library. So these ideas now, they're small ideas, but they could make such a difference. And the guys who were running the meeting said, right, the thing is, this isn't about the council coming along and saying, this is how you run a village association.
Yeah.
Now, this has to be about these ideas, which we will email back to you, and I've agreed to translate them. And this is the start then. So you're the people who have to make all this happen. We'll help, or we'll tell you where to go if you need, if you want the road directions to change, if there needs to be more lights at the top of the roundabout. So that's a matter for the Cabildo. But we will tell you how you'd get in touch with the people to make that happen.
Okay.
And I found it was very good, because what they did was they were saying grassroots has to start. And my one concern, having been here before, is that there was really enthusiastic people at the meeting yesterday, probably about 30 people. My worry would be that 30 would become 20 the next time, and then it would become 15, and then in a year's time it'd be back to 4 or 3.
Okay.
And I hope not.
But okay, I mean, when I was, I'm getting an echo, right? Are you getting an echo?
Tiny.
Hello.
Yeah, a little echo.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, not that one. Anyway, doesn't matter.
It's funny you say that, Cleo, there. I mean, we have, with us, we have a community council, which is linked to our main council offices in Forfar. Each area's got their own sort of community council. They actually sort of work, if there's any planning and anything like that, they sort of take it on. They've also got a very well used Facebook page, and anything at all that happens within the community actually comes out on their Facebook page. Then once a month in our village hall, they have a meeting where the general public are sort of invited into that, so they can discuss, like, for example, just now they're discussing a point on solar farms. Some of the farms are putting their ground out for solar. A lot of different issues. We were having problems with the crossings, the kids getting to the school. And that came up through the community council, and they fought for a good year or so to get crossings put in, pedestrian crossings and that put in, and it worked. Eventually they got it, but it was more of the response from the folks in the village. It sort of built that up, and eventually, as I said, they had to sort of relent, and they actually got pedestrian crossings and that in for the kids and that for crossing the road. And even you come down to the level of the village hall. I mean, we've got a fairly good village hall. It's used for all sorts of things. It's used for sports. It's used for keep fit things and what have you through the week. Also, in the village hall, they have a couple of clubs for the elderly people. They have a friendship club.
That's a lovely idea.
Yeah, what they do, it's only for maybe 2-3 hours, but it's a meeting place for people to come in.
Exactly.
And just sit down, have a yadder with one another. Sometimes they bring in specialist guests, maybe to speak about something about nature or something like that. That's the sort of the thing that they use the village hall for that. They bring in what they call soup lunches. some of the committee members and some of the other people as well, they prepare soups and that and bring them in. So again, the elderly can come along and can have a soup and a roll and that, and again a yatter, and there's always something discussed of what's going on in the village.
Perfect. Who funds that? Who would fund the guests or the soup lunches, or does it come from
No,
from
they actually fund that themselves. You pay maybe 50 pence or a pound or something like that, into the kitty. It's the same with the friendship club. It's maybe £1 or something like that to join sort of something like that. But unfortunately, it's what you were saying. They started off with a lot of people, and the numbers through the years dwindled down.
Yeah.
But the same thing happened in the church over the years as well. The number of the congregation dwindled. So what they did, they discovered they had the empty space in the church. So they did a bit of modification in the church. Now, what they've done is they've moved the Friendship Club and that into the church. And they've brought in other leisure facilities into the hall. Let's face it, it's all about getting money into the hall to make the hall viable.
Sure.
Because by the time you pay, we as a committee, I used to be on the committee. We bought the hall and the surrounding area as what they call an asset transfer.
Well, okay.
It took quite a long time to go through, but eventually it went through. I was involved in actually preparing the actual, like a tender that you put to the council. Then they go through it all and work out and to see if it's going to be a viable project for us to buy it. And we actually bought the hall. So basically now we sit there, not rent free. You pay a nominal fee to the council, for the building. But by the time you pay a nominal fee, you pay your electricity, you pay the upkeep of the hall.
It adds up.
Exactly. And during the pandemic, if we were lucky, we had a wee bit of reserve, so we were able to keep going. But it's building back up again. It's great at the weekend because many people come in for their kids' parties.
Oh, okay, that's a good idea.
At the weekend, on a Saturday and a Sunday, it's kids comes in for their parties. Local kids and people from other districts as well, because our hall looks out onto the plane park. So we've got a couple of big sliding doors, and they can go out there and onto the park, and they can mingle with the community as well. But it took many years for them to build up the fund to actually sort of build the hall, because all they had was what we call the scout hut. It was like a big shed, and basically that was where everybody met, and the community, our village community, grew that big. People wanted it. There were people were crying out for someplace. They cry out for it, but unfortunately, they don't support it after a length of time. It
needs commitment and it needs dedication from people, and there always has to be at least kind of 2 or 3 people in the village who are willing to give a lot of their spare time to it, isn't it?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, just not long after I retired, the public notice went up. The committee was to close our village hall for the lack of support, because they couldn't get people to come on the committee to support it.
Yeah.
At that particular time, I joined them on the maintenance, just sort of looking after the hall, and I finished up being there 5 years. But again, just now, I think there's only 2 people sort of running the hall, 2, 3 people running the hall. Yeah. And it doesn't matter how much you do going around the village and asking people, putting in flyers in people's doors and that. Oh yes, we'll come. Yeah, we'll come and help you. But
one other thing I found as well. And there've been a couple of comments on Facebook afterwards. And I know I work for the council, so I do have a point of view. But some people seem to feel that a neighbourhood association should be like not against the council, but almost a separate entity that gets things from the council. And I can understand that, but it'd be much better to actually say, well, let's become somebody that is reaching out to the entities that have money, to saying, can you help us? Here's something we want to do. Let's try and improve where we live together, rather than saying, you're something that we have to grab money from. Do you know what I mean? Rather than being abrasive.
Is that then, I mean, I see there's like a conflict in sort of like trust in one another.
Well, hopefully not, but some people seem to think that that's how it should operate.
Yeah, and that's maybe also the reason why not so many people join in or drop gradually.
Well, no, because the last time round, the council kept giving us money. They gave us money to throw a fiesta. They gave us money to have parties down in the square. They never asked us to do anything for them. I just think it's hard to build a community spirit in a place like Cayo Salvaje, because half the population don't live here all the time. 2/3 of the population are probably visiting. And a lot of people are retired and they really just want to maybe go for a drink after work, or, I mean, it's hard to kind of pull them together and say, let's do something that will benefit everybody. So I know you're worried about the state of dog poo on your street. But if everybody gets together and says, right, let's get a cleaner for the whole village, then something else will happen as well on your street.
I remember years ago, me and my partner and his family and a friend, hi Webby. We went to clean the barrancos here next to the tropical park, and it was just a morning, but it was a great morning. Being active, and 2 hours cleaning up.
And it doesn't have to be just where you live. It's just a general. This is for the for everybody's good.
And the association could come here to the kitchen.
It could. We could have a balcony banter.
You could have a balcony banter and we could clean up the kitchen for them.
But it is. I mean, it does require a tiny little bit of selflessness.
I think in my experience, I've lived in a couple of villages, and in my experience, there are the type of people that want to be on a committee for the sake of being on a committee.
Yes.
There are the type of people that think they can make a bit of cash by being, I'm not saying stealing, but you know,
getting investment. They're making contact.
And so you can make contacts and investment and power as well, as a power grab. And you get people who want to do stuff, and then they get fed up with the politics. So I think when you get any organisation, there's going to be some level of politics, and somebody's going to be, you know what, that guy's always mouthing off. It's probably me. That guy's always mouthing off, and I'm not going to do it anymore.
And there's one other tiny little thing which I think plays a part in that here, is that the great thing is we have so many different cultures and people coming from so many different countries. But the bad side of that is that they come to a meeting expecting it to be like it used to be at home.
Gotcha.
And it's not. And everyone has their different idea of what it used to be like at home. And so there has to be a bridge. Everyone has to make a tiny little leap of faith. And some people will and some people won't.
And dropping judgment.
Exactly.
Or prejudice.
Yeah. Dropping judgmental.
Yes.
That's so well put.
Okay, so Michael's saying here the council often spends money on projects of influence groups rather than on more necessary things. And I think the answer to that is in the question. If you want something done, create an influence group and get it done. So the council will listen to it. So that's the part of a part of the association would be that we want them to be influence groups.
Yeah, but in a positive way.
In a positive way.
Not in a power grab or money grab way. Like
for me, the village as it is is nice.
It's about this, but
you know, they've done a lot of the low curbs for Chris, so we can get everywhere. I'd like them to repave the middle down here.
Hopefully they will.
Just so that it's not bumpy for Chris.
Yeah. And the road to Playa Paraíso along the beach.
No, but that comes under something else. For me, that comes under stuff they've not done yet.
Okay, well
right?
that's a good list.
And so the stuff they've not done yet is basically, we know we need to do it, but we don't have the resources or we don't have them enough. And I don't know what minute is in English.
The willingness. Yeah.
right? We just can't be bothered doing it because there's other things that we need to do.
And there are a lot of other things. that
And
we
I
could
can
do.
imagine that if we paved the way over to Playa Paraíso, then there'd be a lot more travel. But then you'd need to put something up there on the cliffs to get people past
Yeah,
it, if you like,
yeah.
you know. But there's no drainage, there's no toilets, so it would cost a lot of money to invest in that.
And they're doing the road instead, maybe, because that's easier.
Well, yeah, we see the road, but it is
That's nearly
easier.
done.
But it's not a. That is a traffic road, and this would be a leisure road.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. Again, with my council hat on, employee rather than official, guys. I know because I do the translations. So, Adeke has 49,000 residents, registered residents. At
Registered,
the moment.
yeah, probably 60,000.
Central funding pays the council for everybody that is a registered resident. So central funding is based on the number of people who live here.
On the Padron.
There are about 2 million tourists that come here every year that also need to use roads, pathways, footpaths, cars, toilets,
Car
drains.
parks.
And this is one of the big ongoing arguments. Adeke has been part of a new association with other tourism boroughs or municipalities who are saying to central government, we actually need funding based on the number of people we're trying to look after, not the number of people who are registered as residents. So perhaps the reason that hasn't been done is there isn't money for it.
Yeah. On the other hand, we've got like 2 derelict buildings. We used to have 3, now we've got 2. And we've got a derelict sport and pool area by Sueño Azul.
Yeah.
And also, I noticed they're actually rebuilding those little shops by the amphitheatre in Sueño Azul.
Are they finally doing that?
They've put new fronts on them.
Oh, brilliant.
So, but I don't know whether anybody's bought
They're
them or
all
not.
private, you see.
They're private, yeah.
Oh.
So,
I mean, with the Mind Hotel, which is now fabulous, the council spent years and years it was owned by a consortium based in the Spanish Peninsula, who actually, it cost them less money to not sell it because of taxes and overheads and everything. But the council spent years and years and years persuading them to finally sell it, and the Mind Hotel came in and bought it. So those things, there is politics behind it all.
yeah, I mean, the one across the road here, the derelict, I don't know what it's supposed
I think
to
it's
be.
supposed to be a car park, I don't know. Or
It looks like a strip mall
That
with a car
has
park
always
underneath.
been the question.
Yeah.
And it always blew my mind. How is the car going in there? And
Well,
how
of
is
course,
it?
but there, yeah.
No, but the car park's underneath.
Yeah,
There is a
Where
fully
Paul's-
functional car park
Is it?
underneath.
because Paul's Auto uses it.
Yeah, Paul's Auto uses it.
They store
so
their
there's a big
cars
car park underneath, and then it's got 2 levels.
Yeah.
So basically, it's like the street level. You've got a lower level of shops and an upper level of shops. And I mean, that would be perfect. And the spare ground next to us, if you put in a beautiful hotel there, a low rise hotel like Sunset Hotel.
But it's all owned by a family. as we
Right,
know,
so we
yeah.
need to like go and shake the family's hand, invite them to the meeting.
Oh, but they
On the
could-
balcony.
Well, we know what they are. We know who they are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not
I
here
mean,
now, are they?
When I moved here, none of this was here.
No, Arcoiris.
No, Arcoiris wasn't here. Coyote Beach wasn't here.
No.
The avenue ended just about there, and it was derelict land all the way. So lots of change. Things will change again, but slowly.
Yeah, but I want to enjoy it. You know, I don't
I
want to
know.
be 85 and going,
Patience.
oh, are they finishing the road yet?
And
Or
the-
they've opened the
narkies.
pool bar.
Yeah, but I'm too old to dance.
And now the rent here will go up again in 7 years. God.
Well, hopefully I have my mortgage paid by then.
And the beach bar is opening up again, isn't it?
Yeah, that's being done.
Yes,
That's true.
that's
Well, those were
You
the
can
two.
tell that there are local elections in
There's,
May.
I was going to say, there's amazing what you get on election year, isn't it? So the beach bar's being done
This
up,
is
but
when
it's a
influence-
kiosk, right? It was
This
sold
both-
as a kiosk,
Both sections are being done. So the restaurant on top and the little.
but it's not a restaurant on top. I had a look at that. It's
Okay.
a kiosk,
Okay, good.
and the reason that they didn't renew his lease is because he turned it into a barbecue restaurant.
And with live music, which he wasn't allowed to
No, he
have.
wasn't allowed. He wasn't even allowed to grill anything.
Oh,
So
okay.
all he had was a kiosk license, which means anything that you can do on a stove and a parrillada, yeah?
a grill.
A grill, but you can't have a stone grill or something like that.
And an outdoor huge.
Right. So you could do like chips and burgers and sandwiches and stuff like that.
omelets and things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
you,
he was also
you
charging
couldn't do
ridiculous
anything in
prices.
Yeah. But yeah, so that'd be nice. But I heard that it's going to be eight grand a month or something pacht
But it was always going to be an expensive rent
I know.
because they're assuming they get good business.
Right.
But the people who take over that,
Mm-hmm.
if it's similar to before, also run and earn money from the sunbeds.
From the sunbeds,
and all
okay.
that kind
Oh,
of
you
stuff,
probably
so-
get $8,000 from the sunbeds
Yeah,
then a month,
yeah.
wouldn't you?
That
Yeah.
was very convenient, wasn't it? Just ringing the bell.
I hated it. I hated it because, well, it meant that the lifeguards were more concerned about making money selling you a beer than
Yes,
saving
it's-
anybody's life in the sea.
Yeah, but that was because the guy paid a lifeguard to do 2 jobs.
Or he
Which
paid
that
a waiter to put on a
shouldn't
lifeguard
be the
shirt.
case.
Or something like that, yeah.
Because I never saw them in the sea once.
I wouldn't go in there.
Anyway, this is all local, boring nonsense.
It's not local, Boyd. It's what people want. People tune into our channel on Balcony Banter to have a bit of balcony banter.
A bit of
And
balcony banter.
a bit
it's
of
true.
balcony banter.
And now you
Uh,
should quickly do the sunset now, Tim.
The sun. I just got to show the sunset
Oh,
again.
it's
Beautiful sunsets at the moment.
nice, I guess.
Yes.
This is worth a look, guys, I think.
Enjoy Tenerife. Kayaw sarap.
It's funny. We've been getting beautiful sunrises in the morning.
Oh, how
Oh.
nice.
See
What
how
time
you
is the
be.
sun coming up, Ian? In your
Uh,
part of the world?
it's usually if it's a good morning, it's usually about 8 o'clock, 8:30. You start
Nice.
getting the colour coming across the sky. But the last Tuesday mornings there, it's been clear in the morning. The sun's been coming up early, and actually the glow has actually been going across the sky. You know,
Oh.
it was like some of the. I tell you what, it was like some of the photographs that I took last year when I was down at night. I'll be
Lovely.
quite honest. I've never seen sky like it. Whether it's a good sign or no, I don't know.
Oh, stop. You think it's an omen? A portend of something to come?
It could be. You never know.
Is it an independent sky?
Somebody
What?
out there.
Changing subject, says Sarah Childs. What day is Adeje Market on?
Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Wednesday, Saturday.
Yes,
I
but
presume-
are we talking about the
The
agromercado?
farmers market?
The farmers
or
market is on what you
Wednesday
just said.
afternoons and
Yeah,
Saturday and Sunday mornings.
Exactly, and the other markets are on a Saturday. The one in Costa
Fania Bay.
Adeje,
In
on
Don
Fania
Vizcas.
Bay.
In February, Thursday, Saturdays.
Exactly.
Sorry, when
In the
I always
mornings.
think it means the farmers
Yes.
market,
Yes, me too.
which are wonderful, guys.
Yes,
Wonderful.
love them, love them.
The farmers
Farmer-
market here is
farmers
so
markets
good.
are good.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
have this little bar section as well where you can have a barraquito.
And
Yes.
they sell
Oh, yeah.
world class cheeses. You should do a
Yes.
balcony back. We should do a program from Montes de Oca,
Okay.
the cheese farm, the goat cheese farm in Adeje.
Oh yes,
They
I
win
would love
like they
that.
win about 8 prizes every year at the World Cheese Awards.
Was big and won prizes. That's the end of a limerick there, I know. But unfortunately, you can't say the rest of it.
No,
It's about a woman from Devizes. There you
yeah, I wouldn't. I'd leave it at that. There's children watching.
go. Janet saying our shops are being replaced by restaurants and cafes and charity shops because the shop rents are so high.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I think the world is a bit of a sad place at the moment in general, isn't it? What about the craft market? Sorry, I'm reading these texts here, Tim. The craft market at the Mirador. I don't know what craft
the
market that
Mi-
is.
Yeah, the Mirador is.
The roundy one.
No.
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 Yeah, basically it's next door to that. So if you walk on the front from Del Duque towards La Caleta, and as you come up the first rise, on the right there, you can cut through to a little craft market
Oh, okay.
inside. And that's basically the Mirador Bahia, Mirador and the
Iberostar.
Iberos.
Okay.
So, but that's always there, I think.
Okay.
That's in shops, isn't it? I don't think there's any stalls.
All right, so
or
it's not a store. It's not a
No, I
market,
don't think there's any
isn't it?
stalls. If that's the one you're thinking of. Charity shops don't pay rates. There you go. I hear the Canaries are after a better
What's this?
cut of clientele when you're moving out,
That's
says Daft
definitely
H.
about you, Tim. It's not us.
I hear the Canaries are after a better cut of clientele. We're not clientele, we live here.
That's true. And being up here, we're a cut above the rest.
Uh-huh. We've actually come to the end. It's 7 o'clock already.
Huh? Do I smell
Time
something
flies
cooking?
when
Is
you're
dinner
having
ready?
fun.
Dinner ready, Tim?
Dinner-
Yeah, but you owe them 10 minutes when we worked on the
Well, that'll be your 10 minutes then, darling, while I go and turn the oven on
We're
for
not
the
we're not
pizza. There you
crashing
go.
someone else's. Are we crashing somebody else's vlog?
Oh, are we
I don't
jumping
know.
on somebody else's vlog?
I don't know.
Not
You
to
are
my
the-
knowledge.
No, I don't think anybody goes on Wednesdays, do they? After us. But if they do, go over to them.
Not to my knowledge. no.
Yeah.
And if you like, stay here.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Watch us shiver.
So,
I know people laugh.
Ian, I'm going to put you in charge and Juliane in charge of the finishing up because I'm going to go and put the oven on.
Yeah.
I'm going to say ta-ra.
Ta-ra.
Tra.
Ta-ra.
I'm going to leave you in the capable hands of everybody else,
Of the ladies.
of the ladies, and if one of you could put end broadcast
Yeah.
like you normally do, I would be good. And we'll see you on Freaky Friday.
Yeah.
And next week, don't forget, on Juliane's channel.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bug out now, guys,
Try
and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.
Yep, see you later.
See you later.
Well, we're staying for a minute.
Just stay for a minute, as long as you like.
Aye.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
what-
yeah.
What lovely things are going to be on in Adeje now? Is there anything upcoming?
Well-
The last time you said about the theatre.
No,
the
well,
play?
in fact, the theatre was wonderful.
Play?
The
Oh, did
German
you?
one, we had about 50 people at it.
Okay.
The English one, we had of 200 seats, we had 179.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Good.
It was wonderful.
Good.
And people in general were, well, this is again about building community in a way. People in general were just so delighted to have an English language production from a professional group from the UK staging a play in Adeje, and it was terrific.
And I
Where,
can
where was that,
imagine.
Leo?
It was in the Adeje School of Music just at the end of January, and it was called Sherlock Holmes and the Speckled Band, and it's a group they're from the north of England, but they tour a lot, and I wrote to them today to kind of say, you were great, when are you coming back? Because I really want, I think it was wonderful, I mean,
Right,
again,
right.
it was a council sponsored event, but it worked really well.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's a thing we always like to take in. At some part of the you always like to take in a show of some kind. And we're just sort of looking for something different now, like, you know.
Yeah, and certainly as a resident, if there's one thing I do miss is theatre. I miss
Yeah.
live theatre,
Yeah.
and I go up to Santa Cruz sometimes to the
Auditorium.
to the auditorium, and they put there's always great shows
Yeah.
up there. But it was lovely to see a great old whodunit, a Sherlock Holmes whodunit with all the requisite, screams and bumps and hollers in
Yeah.
English by a professional company. It was really good fun.
So is that something that will be ongoing or?
Hopefully.
Okay.
It was done. There's a group called MSCB Gestion, who are a theatre organisation in the north of the island, and their head also lectures in theatre studies.
Okay.
So he has brought these people over before, but it was the first time in the south.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of extended the hand of friendship, and they enjoyed coming here. So I think it's just a matter of reaching out again
So
and
I
saying,
can
right, when are you
imagine
coming back?
that could be also something for enjoying diversity. If we
Exactly.
have other countries coming in,
Very much so.
It's great to broaden this kind of culture.
Yeah. But
And
I think, do you know what I think is as well? It needs to be balanced, like we were talking about before. If it suddenly started to happen every month, it wouldn't be special.
yeah.
So if once a year at the moment you have an English language and a German language and a French or an Italian
Yeah.
coming to Adeje, people will plan, look forward, wonder what the next play is
That's
going to
true.
be. So
Yeah.
it needs to be balanced and
Yeah, a quarterly would be.
or even to begin with every
something-
6 months. Yeah,
something-
summer and winter.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I don't know what's coming up. Oh, because people have been, well, I tell you what, there's a really interesting exhibition open today, and I've interviewed, it's a photographer from Holland
Okay.
called Christine Sickink, and she has a photography exhibition called Bold, and it's in the health centre, and it is an exhibition of bold women
Oh,
who are bold because they've had breast cancer.
yes.
And her story is really interesting. Her dad was a wig maker in Holland, and her sister took over the shop. She told me this yesterday. And one day her sister phoned and said a young woman had come in looking for a wig because she'd had breast cancer. And this young woman didn't realise how beautiful she was. And because she had lost her hair, her other features, her eyes, her cheekbones, her lips, suddenly took over her beauty.
Yeah.
So this photographer, Christine, decided to invite women to come and be photographed. And she said she has just found the most incredible beauty in women, because we spend so much time thinking about our hair, don't we?
Yes,
Well, we
you
do.
Yeah.
Do you as well, Ian?
No, I've heard the story.
But if we had no hair, or if our hair was just off our faces, then people would look at us differently, and we'd look at ourselves differently.
Yeah.
So that's going on at the moment. I think that's a great thing.
I think that's a good connector. Absolutely, because I mean, many nationalities or women can. It's not only nationalities; it's gender. It's
and it's also breast cancer. Unfortunately, affects men now.
Yeah.
But it's part of this bigger organisation called Think Pink Europe, which has over 20 breast cancer associations all around Europe, and the Walk for Life Foundation. They're the Spanish representative of Think Pink Europe. So they've been working with this. With this photographer. So that's something that's on until March. You can see it in the Department of Health, and then from the 1st to the 15th of March, I think it's in the El Galion Sports Centre. But if you go to townhall.odeche.es, you get all the local information in English.
Yeah, that's the good one.
There's my plug.
Cleo, what do they hold in the Magnet Centre?
In the which centre? The Magma?
Magnet Centre, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen them advertising things recently. I know they probably use it for a lot of conferences. And for about a year it was used as one of the main vaccination centres.
It's vaccination place, yeah. I mean, you've
but
mentioned
at the moment,
I
don't know. It's not part of the council.
Right.
It doesn't belong to the council. It's a private centre.
Yeah. So you're talking about these things just now. Are these actually held up in Odeche Town, is it?
Yep.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's great as well. I mean, if you guys want to check out that English version, there's that Facebook page, Odeche Town Hall.
Easier, the Odeche Town Hall Facebook, you'll have.
Yes, exactly.
And sometimes I'll just put up posters of courses that are going on. You know, there's a couple of pastry courses coming on. Oh, and the other thing we didn't talk about, Juliane, is Carnival has begun in Santa Cruz.
Yes, a big thing here on the island. We were just talking earlier, saying that Carnival is not just now in February. It's all year. It's all year round.
And they say it's the second biggest carnival after Rio de Janeiro in the world.
Yes.
And if you've never, I mean, I've been up a few times, but I've never been to the election of the Carnival Queen. But if you see the costumes that these women are wearing,
beautiful.
I mean, this isn't bikini stuff. This has got nothing to do with that. These costumes are bigger than this balcony.
Yeah, yes.
They are constructions.
Yes, and they put a lot of time and effort and passion into it.
Yeah, and they represent ideas and dreams and.
Yes. And what this year's theme? What is it?
New York.
New York.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
So, but the thing is, the first time I went up, so the party lasts for about 3 weeks, and from next week there'll be street parties going on every night until about 6 in the morning, with DJs, with live music, thousands of people dancing on the street. And the first time I went, I remember thinking, oh, I don't want to wear a costume. I'm a grown-up. I look stupid. But you only look stupid if you don't wear a costume.
Exactly.
And I mean, so I'm not from here. My daughter is from here, and to her, Carnival is part of her blood. It's just one of the things she misses most about living in the UK is not being here for Carnival.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean it's an appalling thing for her.
She could come over.
No, she's got studies.
Just for the Carnival.
Carnival.
I know when we went to Ibiza in the May time, we always used to try and go down the week that they had the carnivals and the parades and everything and the streets and that. And in Santa Eulalia itself, they started on a Friday night in the square with dancing, all the local dancing, all generations from the wee ones right up.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And then the next day, the Saturday and the Sunday, you got the parades through the street and that, and it was, you name it, it was there. They were on the back of carts, all dressed up with clothing, and then you would get the bands, the traditional music. You would get them coming along doing the traditional maple dancing, and it was great, absolutely great.
Would there be religious connections too? Were they carrying statues as well on their shoulders and stuff? Ian?
You got that on the Sunday. That's right. You got a lot of that on the Sunday.
Because it's all connected with Easter. I mean, this is Carnival is supposed to mark the start of Easter. I think it ends with the burial of. Now, I've never found anyone to tell me why a giant sardine is burnt to mark the end of Carnival in Santa Cruz. And I'm talking an enormous papier-mâché sardine.
Yeah.
Where this comes from, we don't know.
Yeah, we
But
gotta
the burning
figure out.
of the burning of the sardine is
It's
huge.
the end. It's like Ash Wednesday, isn't
Yeah.
it?
And lots of men dress up as weeping widows as well.
Oh.
And so you'll have these pictures in the newspaper the next day of hundreds of men in black with their mantillas and their tissues as they weep as the sardine is burnt.
But there should be a way to find out. Guys,
So we have to find out. Okay, this is our mission.
That's our mission for next time.
Our mission is to find out why
Yes.
they burn a sardine.
Exactly.
With big red lips.
So yeah.
Folks, listen, folks, I'll have to leave you.
I
Yes.
think it's time to go, is it?
Well, next week we see you on my channel, as Tim said, with another great topic. Thanks everyone for watching and tuning in. And there's one request, Ian,
What?
for you.
Ha!
This
Evening,
one.
email, great awesome. Could you say, please, there's a moose loose about this house?
Well said, Ian.
Is that what he wants? There's a
That's-
moose about
that's-
this house.
There's a noose
That's
loose
the
about
one.
loose.
Alrighty.
We'll leave it
Well-
on that note, folks. I'm sorry, I have to go.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Oh, bye.
And bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.